Hello, Netcode Hub community. Frederick is here with another exciting tutorial for you. Today, we are diving into the world of Kubernetes and Docker, specifically focusing on how to build and run your .NET Web API application in Kubernetes using Docker. If you have been using Docker Compose to manage your containerized applications, you are already familiar with the convenience it brings. If you don't have any knowledge on that, I have a playlist which talks about how you can run application in Docker using Docker Compose file. So I'll put it in this video description. You can also check the channel playlist and you're going to find it in there. However, as your applications grow and require more advanced orchestration capabilities, Kubernetes becomes a powerful ally. So in this video, I am going to walk you through why you should consider Kubernetes over Docker Compose for orchestrating or managing your application. And we will set up a practical scenario to highlight the benefit of using Kubernetes. So the first question is, why choose Kubernetes over Docker Compose? You know, Kubernetes and Docker Compose both serve the purpose of managing containerized applications, but they cater to different needs and skills. Just imagine you are running a microservices-based e-commerce application. During peak shopping seasons like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, the traffic to your application surges exponentially because during that day, people will be hopping onto your site to make a request because of cheap price. With Docker Compose, scaling this application manually to handle this traffic will be cumbersome and error-prone because you have to do this manually. By leveraging Kubernetes, you can define auto-scaling rules that automatically adjust the number of instances based on the traffic load. So instead of you doing it manually, no, you can set it automatically, and Kubernetes is going to do that for you. Kubernetes also ensures that if any of your microservices fail, they are automatically restarted or replaced, whilst Docker does not do that, ensuring continuous availability and a smooth user experience. This level of automation and resilience is critical for handling high traffic scenarios and maintaining user satisfaction. So for this, if I ask you to choose between Docker Compose file or orchestrating, maintaining, or managing your application using Docker Compose file and Kubernetes, which one will you go for? I will go for Kubernetes, and I believe you also go for the same Kubernetes. Alright, Docker Compose, it is not bad. We can use it. By this case, there are some things that you have to manually do it. And Docker Compose, it is there to orchestrate small applications. But when you're running a large application in production level, then the advice here is to go for Kubernetes. So let's see how we can integrate, we can build a web API into an image, run it, or manage it, or orchestrate it using Kubernetes. So all that you need to do here is to launch a Visual Studio 2022 or higher. Now create a new project, and this is going to be web API. So click on create new project. And you know the template that we're going to choose already, isn't it? So do justice. And that's going to be web API. I'm going to name it demo. So web API. With Kubernetes. Okay, so demo web API with Kubernetes. And I choose location for your project. After that, click on next. And now in here, since you're going to create a containerized image, we want to enable that. So let's click on enable container support so that we don't need to manually create this, okay, to skip some time. And here we container OS is Linux, and we have the Docker file. That is the file that you want to build, the type. So you make sure that you have this selected, and now click on create. So this is going to create our project and also attach this Docker file, and that's what you're going to be using. Alright, so the application is ready, and as you can see from here, we have a Docker file which has all the the necessary command that we need to run this into a package, and that is an image to run Docker. So you see we have everything from here, and now we are not going to touch it. Okay, we're going to leave it as it is. All that we're going to do here is we're going to remove one of these, and we want to expose only HTTP, so it can run at a port of 80. So you can maintain 80 or 8080, any of them you can do it. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do here is, as we are done with it, let's save this. We are not going to do anything here. We want to run this package. You want to run this using the Kubernetes. So let's see how to do that. Make sure you have your Docker desktop installed. If you don't have it installed, then go to this link to download this Docker desktop. So when you go to https docs.docker.com, and now from desktop you're going to have access to this, so you can download the version for your system. Now this is for Windows, so if you want to check iOS or Linux, then maybe this link will help you. As you can see, we have Mac, Windows, and Linux, and here it is docs.docker.com/desktop. So you make sure you have it and install this package. Now when you're done, you're going to have, there is a view of it. You're going to have something like this. Although I have this installed already running, but never mind. This is a template, this is a home page that you're going to land on as soon as you're done installing this software. Alright, so you make sure it is running, engine started. And now the next thing that we're going to do here is, this Docker desktop supports Kubernetes. So we have to enable that, and I'm going to check mine is running. So to enable yours, go to settings in here, and I go to Kubernetes, and I make sure you turn this on. That is all that you need to do. If you don't turn this on, you're gonna have an issue running that, because that is what you're going to use to run this application. Alright, so now we have this set and done. What we're going to do here is we need to also create an account, because one thing, Kubernetes at a time, make sure it runs the image from Docker Hub, that is a container registry. So you may have to make sure that you have your package in there, and that is what Kubernetes is going to use. We're going to grab it from that and run it in here for us. So in order to do that, you go to hub.docker.com and now you log in. So you can see I have logged in already, and mine is netcode. So I have it already, and I have my username. Take note of the username, because that is what we're going to use to upload or to push packages in here. Now I have only one default package. I use it for testing, and I can see it's over here, but never mind, we're going to build our own, and at the end of the day you can also have your own in here as well. It is free, so you can build your package and upload it here with no charge. Great. So now that you have this environment set, we are good to go. Now let's minimize this, and now in here we have our system, our application, or an image open or exposed to a port of 80, which is going to run on HTTP. Now in order for us to test this, what we're going to do here is, let's rebuild this project first. So rebuild solution. So after this is done, we can also use the command prompt to build this project as well. You can go to the tools and have our console command line, or even from a NuGet package, because you have this package manager console, and in here we can also build the same project using this command line. So you say .NET build dot, and I'm just going to also build this project for us. Alright, so now that we have this set, we can run this application and check it out. This application is running on 7.1.1.1 and now HTTP of 5.0.0.5. Okay, so this is what is running on. So run, and I'm just going to run the project. Let's see, cannot find the project to run. So ls to display the project that we have in here. That is what we want. So let's grab this. Then let's get into this project, and ls you have the project source in here, and that is how we can have .NET run. So if you don't want to use this command line, you can just go straight ahead and click on this. You're going to select the HTTP or the HTTPS based on the port that you want to run, and I get it run. By default, it's going to run on the HTTPS. So let's wait and see what it is building, and now you must see the Swagger UI as soon as this project gets built and run. That's right. So you can see that this is running, and now it's listed on the port of 5.0.0.5. So maybe you can put our browser and now check it out. So we're going to have a local host, which is running on the port of 5.0.0.5. So let's say 5005, and now let's have our Swagger and check it out. Okay, so localhost 5005 on our Swagger. HTTP. Alright, so let's check it again. So this is running on 5005. Okay. So this is not running still, it's not running here. So let's go and find out and check whether we have this Swagger installed, or we need to set the configuration again. Now when you go to, let's see, our app settings, and then here it is running on 505, that's an HTTP, and that is what you have in here. Great. But let's check the launch URL. Alright, so you can see it is running on weather forecast, and means Swagger is not installed. Now let's pick this, and now instead of Swagger we say weather forecast. Let's check it out. So it's supposed to be HTTP. Great. Oh wow, there we have it. So this means we don't have Swagger. Let's go to the program.cs file and check it out. Oh yes, we don't have it. Let's quickly install. So right click on dependencies and go to, let's stop this first. Dependencies, manage NuGet packages, and now search for ASP.NET Core.Swagger or /backup. So ASP.NET Core.Swagger. Let's install this. Oh, so that's an /backup.ASP.NET Core. Let's install this package. While this has finished installing, we go to the same program. Let's add the service. So we say builder.services. So builder.services.add Swagger, and so Swagger gen, and now this should come from the namespace that the package that we installed. Alright, so you can see we have it. Yeah, it is added. Now we go to the middleware pipeline. Let's say app.use Swagger, then app.use Swagger UI. So once we're done with this, we go back to the launch settings, and now instead of launching from this weather forecast, we're going to launch from Swagger. Okay, we can copy the same thing to the HTTPS in case you want to run from HTTPS. Now when we build this again, let's try it and check it out. So we go to our tools, then we have our NuGet package manager, the console, and now in here let's .NET run again. Now this is ready. The same run the same port of 5005. Now let's bring our browser in here. Now let's paste it /Swagger, and now let's check it out. Let's make sure we are running on HTTP. Yes, and now we have it. So our Swagger is now configured, and when you check, execute this, you must have the default record. That's great. So we have this. Let's minimize this. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to build this project. So let's build this in the packages as an image, then we can upload it to the Docker Hub. Okay, we're going to do everything from the console that we have in here. So the first thing that we need to do is we are going to build this package. Now in order for us to build this package, we must provide a tag. So tag, in order to get a tag, you have to start with your username, then the name of your project, the name of the app or the image that you want to create. So let's see, now in here we can check if Docker is installed. If you open command prompt and uncheck, you're going to get it. If you open here too and uncheck it, you're also going to get it as well. Now you can just type in Docker version, and now this should give you the current version that you have on your machine. Okay, so now this is installed. Now we're going to say docker build, and now with this we have to specify the T stands for the tag, and now my username is netcode hub. Then what is the name of the package? Let me make it as YouTube app, and now with this I can specify version 1 or latest. Okay, so let's say this is version 1. This is the app that I'm creating. The image name here is a YouTube app, netcode hub / YouTube app version 1. So in here you need to append dot to entire to tell it that I want to build the entire project. Now let's run on this and let's see what's going to happen. So you can see that it's going to build this. So let's wait while it packages this. Let's make sure our Docker desktop is also open. Now you can see here it is saying could not calculate for this because this project is not found. Yes. So this is all we need to do first. Right click on the solution, then go to open folder in File Explorer. You can see that there is a project folder, and in order for Docker to work, it should be moved out of this because it's going to build this file for us. So we need to paste it in here. Okay. Now whilst it is here, what I'm going to do here is I have my terminal open. I want to use this. I like using the external terminal than this console. Alright, so if I type in ls, you can see I have the Docker file in here. And now the same thing that I'm going to do, if I type in docker dash version, I'm going to have the same version. Great. Now that we have this Docker file, what we're going to do here is we're going to docker, then build. We need to specify a tag, and now that's going to be a username. Let me increase this. It should be a username, netcode hub, and now / the name. So that's the YouTube app. What is the version? I want to make it this version 1. Okay, so that is the app name. Now append dots for the whole context, and then let's start building this. So you can see that here it is building the project for us. And now let's make sure our Docker desktop app is opening, and you're going to see that it's going to add it in here. We're going to have a package or an image name known as YouTube app v1. So let's wait while it is building. That's great. So it is done. Now when you cross-check from your Docker desktop app, you can see we have netcode hub / YouTube app in here. So the file has been built and now pushed up into a Docker container. So we have the image in here. Now before we push this to the Docker hub, that is a container registry, we want to cross-check if the app that we've built is working as expected. Okay, for now we don't have anything in it. It's a default one, but when you build something that you want to put it out there, you have to test it. So let's first test and see. Remember that we allocated a specific port in the Docker file. That is a port of 80 running on HTTP. So in order to do that, what we're going to do here is we're going to say docker run. Let's specify the port. And now you want to build this port to 5005. And that's a custom or a port that I've chosen for this. And now it is running on port, default port, the container port here, it is 80. And now what is the name? It is netcode hub / that's a YouTube app and v1. So we want to run on this port 5005. We are binding it to this port from this image port. That is a container port. So let's try this and check it out. If this runs, we're going to access our app on this port. Yeah, so now this is ready. Now let's put it again. And now in here, let's have our local host. And now instead of this, we're going to have it on a port of 5005, right? Then Swagger. So we must have our image running. Let's see. So we are having 5005. So we needed to do one thing. Let's complete that. So once you have this, we need to specify the URL as well. And this can be specified within the environment. That's the E environment. So in here, once we have our Docker run, we have our port. Before we specify image name, let's specify the E as environment. And now with this environment, you're going to say ASP.NET Core ASP.NET Core underscore URL s HTTP. Then aside from that, you're going to have plus 80. Okay, so that is what we need to add. So you can see we have an HTTP. Let me open it wide. Okay, so we have an ASP.NET Core underscore URLs equal to HTTP, and our port is 80. And aside from that, we are providing our package or our image name. So this is running on port 80. Okay, so let's see. And we are having it the 5005. So now when you run this, this should be up, and now we have to be able to access our application on this 5005. Now let's go to our browser again. Now let's try to refresh this, and I can see now we have it. So you can see this working. Now this is working or run on 5005. So let's see, try this, and now we have it. Good. So let's close this, and let's close this as well. So now that you've seen this working, we can go ahead and now push this to Docker Hub. That is a container registry. How do we do that? Very simple. So Docker, then push, and now here after you pass in the push, we have our package or our image name with a tag already. So we're going to say netcode hub, then specify YouTube app, and it is v1. That is all. So this command is going to push this up to our Docker hub. So let's wait while it's preparing. We have to wait, and now we can be refreshing our Docker page in here. Anytime that we have a new, to come here under repositories. So I have one in here. Okay, now when this is built, you're going to have YouTube app v1. Let's wait and see. All right, so you can see that we have it pushed. Now let's go to our page and refresh this, and we are expecting to see YouTube app v1. Yes, of course we have it. So you can see this is a netcode hub YouTube app, and we just uploaded it. So you can see no download. Now how do we utilize this? It is a work of the Kubernetes to come here, grab this image, and now run it for us. So let's go and specify or create our Kubernetes configuration using our deployment.yaml file. So let's go to our project again, and in here we're going to create a file, and now right click on the project. Let's go to add, the new item. Now we're going to search for YAML, so we need to choose this. And now the name that we're going to give is deployment. So we can create two files here. One will be for service and one will be for the deployment. But well, we can specify the deployment and our service in one file. Okay, so that we know to create multiple files here. One file can handle that. Since this is a small app, and now we don't need much to handle it. I have prepared this beforehand, so let me grab this, then we go through one after the another. Alright, so in here, let's have this. Now we have two sections in here. The first section is the deployment, and the second section is the service. So that's the reason why we have this in here. It's separating this from the other one. So you have our service, and we have our deployment. So it's the service here, it is field code. That's the reason why I did not create a file for that. But you can do it. You can create a separate file and now add this in there. But well, if you can add it here, then what is the need of recreating it? We can leave it here. Alright, so we have an API version of version 1. The kind of this file is going to happen here is deployment. We have a metadata, and that is the name that we're giving to it. These are the information that you're giving. And now there's a YouTube app. YouTube app, it is a package name, and we add deployment to it. And here, what is the change course? What are you doing now? We are starting or we are initializing deployment of our application. And the label here is specify the name of our application as YouTube app. When we come to spec, how many replicas do you want to create? How many instances do you want to create? Now we are going to create 3. You can specify 3, 4, 5. But for now, let's make it 3 because we can even make it 2. Because there's no one going to use the application, there's no load on it. But well, for the test purpose, let's maintain the 3. Then we have to specify also selector as an app and the same name. And now when it comes to the template, you need to specify the same app. So or wherever that you see this app, it is a project name that is referring to. So you need not to explain this anymore. You can just make a copy and then paste it and then paste it. The next thing that we come here is a container. That is what matters here. Now it is also under the spec. Now that is container. The name here is an YouTube app. And now what is the image? Now the image, in order for it to work, it needs your username and the name of it and the version. Do you remember when pushing it, we made netcode /YouTube app and the version is what? Version 1. What is the container port that we exposed? When you check out the Docker file, the port that we exposed was 80, isn't it? So you have to bring it in here. And our environment, when we are running the Docker file, you can see that we specify this environment as E. So we have to make it available on run on port of port 18 here. And the type here is a development. You can change this to production, but I know we are developing it, so maybe where we can maintain that. When we come to resources, how you want this to be processed. This is the hardware section. So you can see we have a memory, we have a CPU, and at the limit, we have a memory and a CPU. So you have to specify it based on the capacity or the size of that you have. All right, and in here, when we come to the service, it is also the same version 1, and the kind here is service. So you can see we have two kinds, deployment and service. So when we are done, we can collect information about deployment, and we can also collect information about service. This is our metadata. Now here it is a description. So we say this is a YouTube app load balancer. How did I know it is the load balancer? Because of the type that I specified. I want to set this service as a load balancer service, which is going to intercept traffic and share among the replicas. So let's say here we're going to have 3 replicas, 3 instances running. Now, when you have a high traffic, this load balancer is going to take this request from the various clients and it's going to share it among these 3 replicas that we have created. So that's the reason why we are creating a load balancer. Aside from that, we need to specify a selector, and that goes to the application name. And now here, that's our port. We need to have a target port and now a normal port. The I wanted to say the nona. So the normal port here, it is a 5005. And the targeted or the target port is what we expose in a Docker container. So in a Docker file. So it has a port 80. And now you want to run this externally on port 5005. So there are 2 different things here. They are not the same. This is targeting the image port, and now this is targeting external port. So this will be exposed to the external world, and that is how people will have access to this through this port. All right. So now that we have this is working. Trust me, this is working. All that you need to do here is to apply this, and now when we apply, we can now grab the service of the deployment. And we can also grab the service of this load balancer. In order for us to apply this, we need to install the Kubernetes command line. But do you have it? Let's see, in case you have it. Now, in order to detect whether you have it or you don't, all you're going to do here is you're going to say kubectl. Then we can have the version. Then we're going to have client. So, if I type in, you can see I have my client version of v1.30.2. And do you have yours? In case you don't, then you can install this through this. Let's open the next window PowerShell. And in here, if you don't have this command line, let's see how we can install that. So you type in version. Let's have it equal to. I will need to type in some commands in order to get this. So that is a REST method -URI, then HTTPS, then dl.k8s.io, then release stable. So stable. Let me increase this in case. Yes. So stable. Then we're gonna have .txt, and after that we can trim. Okay. So it's like we are creating a variable as version which is going to hold this. Okay, now that we are done with this, we're also going to create another variable to handle the URL. So we're going to say this is URL, and now we're going to say this also equal to HTTPS, and now in here we say dl.k8s.io/release. Then inside the release, we need to specify the version that we created. So we say this version. You see the variable that we have created, that is what we are introducing it here. And now bin, then let's open the Windows, then AMD64, and in that we need to have our kubectl.exe. Okay, now this, it should be in double quote, as you can see from here. So we're also having a variable for setting the value for this URL variable, isn't it? Now the next thing that we need to do here is we're going to say invoke. Now this invoke, we're going to have web request. Then with this web request, all that you need to do here is specify the URI, and now from the URI is the URL that we created, right? That's out from that we need an out file. So in the out file, specify your kubectl. So cube, that is the file that we need. So kubectl.exe. Let's close this. And now when you run this, it should download or it should install the package that is a command line for us. So let's test this and see if it's going to do that. Yes, you can see now it is writing some request stream, a whole bunch of bytes. Let's we are not interested in that. Let's wait for this to get finished. All that we want to do here is we type in our maybe that is a kubectl version dash client, and we want to see a client version. Then we continue on. Okay, so it took some time to complete this. Is yours also done? Now let's go and check again. So by typing in kubectl then dash client, in here we are going to move this. So let's move this file as a deployment, and now let's go back in here and now let's paste it. So we have a deployment file also attached in here. Maybe we can just drag and drop it to get it open so we can verify stuff in it. Let's also drag and drop our Docker file so we see things for ourselves, right? So we have our port 80 exposed, and that is all. All right, so let's go back, and in here we're going to apply. So now that we have Kubernetes command line being installed successfully, we're going to apply this. Okay, so in order for us to apply this, we cannot do it in here because we are in the Netscode Hub folder. So you need to navigate to our project. So this is our project, and I'm going to clear this. So you're going to say kubectl, then apply. So that's the apply, and the file name is deployment. That's YAML. So now let's see. Now you must have created. So you can see we have a deployment created, but it is error from the server bad request. The server version v1 cannot be handled as a service whatever. So let's go and check it out. Alright, so in here let's cross check. So protocol, we must have this. Okay, so the protocol here, we have the TCP, and aside from that we have the port and now the target port in here. I think this is the right thing. Okay, so let's save this and let's go back to our command line. Let's try to apply this again and now check it out. Yes, I can see now it's created. Now in order for us to see what we have done, what we're going to do here is kubectl, then get deployment to get what we have applied. So get deployment. And now let's see. So you can see that here we have our YouTube app development, that's the deployment. I have one already. So we are not focusing on this one, but the second one, YouTube app deployment. And now it is ready. So all the 3 replicas are ready. They are up to date and they are also available to start. Great. So now that we have this, we can also get our service. You know, we also have our service down here. So it was also applied. We can also do the same CTL, then get service to also get the service. And here you can see from our service, this is what we have. Let me open it wide. Okay, maybe I can, let me clear screen first. Then get service. So you can see from here we have our app version 2. That's not what we want. Although it's a load balancer. What we're interested here, it is a YouTube app. It's a load balancer service. And now here the type of this service is load balancer as indicated earlier on. Then we have this a cluster IP. We are focusing on the external IP. That's a local host because you're running on local host. And now this is our port 5005. So this is our port and it is running on HTTP. So now this up and running. What we're going to do here is we're going to run on this port and I'll check it out and see whether the Kubernetes is running an image from the container registry. So you can see that here we are not running this project. Let's bring our browser and now let's have check. So localhost, and now this is 5005 is running on HTTP. Then we have our Swagger. Now let's test this out. Yes, this is working. So now this app is running by our Kubernetes and it is running on port of 5005 as an HTTP. So when we have a lot of requests, this Kubernetes is going to scale this up. You know, we provided 3 replicas, so it's going to scale this. And now as soon as the request becomes intense, it's going to share this request among the replicas which has been created. Alright, so in this video, we've explored the fundamental reasons for consider Kubernetes over Docker Compose file for orchestrating your .NET or any web API or any application at all. All that you need to do here is to focus on building your project. Now for management, this Kubernetes is going to handle that for you. And that is one good thing about that, and we love so much. Thank you for watching this. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Netcode Hub channel for more tutorials. And also, don't go, hit on that bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. If you have any question too on this, you can put it in the comment section. Alright, so until next time, happy coding and take care.